And joining us now is Shirley Sitbon from our news desk to discuss this story. Hello, Shirley. Israel has launched this latest operation in Jenin days after beginning a ceasefire in Gaza. Is there a connection between the two fronts?
Well, many people see connections on both sides. Indeed, this seems like the ceasefire in Gaza has allowed Israel to attack, to launch this operation in Jenin in the West Bank. The Israeli Defense Minister, Israel Katz, he said that there is a continuation, that Israel has learned from its mistake in a way in Gaza, that it allowed Hamas to prosper, and now it will attack any militant group right away. He says this is not just a war against Hamas, but against one of the militias backed by Iran, calling Iran and its network an octopus. Meanwhile, Bezalel Smotrich, the far-right minister who has remained in the cabinet, even though there's a ceasefire, he threatened to leave, he still remained. Well, he's pushing for this. He says this is a new beginning, what's happening in Jenin, a new beginning, a new attack, a strong one, a relentless one, to move against militant groups for the security of settlers, not just of Israel, but of settlers and West Bank settlements. Meanwhile, the Palestinians see a link as well, because they say that this is an Israeli attempt to dismember the West Bank. They said there are many roadblocks, and this is basically the follow-up against the Palestinian statehood, with many people seeing this operation by Israel as maybe Israel seeing that since it has accepted a ceasefire in the Gaza Strip, well, now it has basically the right to do whatever it wants. We can go further and attack in the West Bank, and we can look at what's happening on the other side of the Atlantic in the U.S., which is what the Israelis may be thinking of. We've seen the Trump administration, waiving and stopping the sanctions that Joe Biden has taken against West Bank settlers who had been violent. And also, well, yesterday we heard Elise Stefanik, who is a nominee of Donald Trump for the UN, for the U.S. to be U.S. ambassador to the UN. And she said yesterday during her hearing that Israel has the biblical right to the West Bank, which basically is Bezalel Smotrich's position. So yes, the Israelis may be feeling that they can go ahead in that move, and that there is a link between the two, basically an attack against Palestinian groups, which the Palestinians see as attack on Palestinians in general.
And moving over to Gaza, it's now entering its fourth day of the ceasefire. And since the deal took effect on Sunday afternoon, about 2,400 trucks of humanitarian aid have entered the enclave. Distributing the aid is a challenge, since most of the buildings and facilities in the Gaza Strip are destroyed. What types of challenges are humanitarian workers facing so far?
Well, there are so many of them. So yes, hundreds of trucks have entered the Gaza Strip, and we can see perhaps the figures yesterday and the days before that. Overall, it was 2,400 trucks yesterday, hundreds of trucks, and we can look at the various challenges that humanitarians are facing, because in the Gaza Strip, almost everything has been destroyed. 90% of housing units have been destroyed, and maybe we can see the list of various problems that they've been facing. Bringing the aid to the people of Gaza. The civilians have returned to all of Gaza, although it has been destroyed. So now the idea is they need to bring the aid, help bring also health services, because there are none of those now. They need to repair water networks, not just bring food and water, but repair the networks, because the wells have been destroyed. They also need to repair and rebuild shelters, because the Palestinians wanted, of course, to return to their hometowns, home villages, but everything has been destroyed. So one of the emergencies is to bring and build shelters to protect them in those areas and to bring them that aid. But among the challenges, of course, there's the fact that many people want that aid fast. Sometimes trucks can be looted. So yes, it's difficulties. There's a security issue, but hundreds are still being brought in, and that's a surge in humanitarian aid, which is wonderful news, of course.
Now, since the ceasefire officially began, we've been seeing Hamas fighters in Gaza. Benjamin Netanyahu's government's stated aim is to destroy the Islamist militant group, but experts are saying it has partially rebuilt itself, recruiting thousands of new fighters. What do we know about Hamas's current capabilities?
Yes, many experts and reports have been saying this in recent weeks, that Hamas has managed to recruit new fighters. Yes, thousands have been killed in the war with the Israeli army, but many others have been recruited. Thousands of the initial fighters have remained, thousands of others recruited. Also, various groups work together. Those new recruits are not necessarily, as well equipped and as well trained as what Hamas used to have, but basically Hamas has been showing in recent days that it's still out there in force. But of course, its weapons have largely been destroyed. But it basically is showing that Israel has failed to destroy it. And the Israelis are saying that, yes, that is still their goal, to destroy Hamas. The Americans have been saying that Antony Blinken spoke last week, saying that Israel is in part responsible for the fact that Hamas has regained control of some areas, because Israel has refused for the past year to find an alternative solution, the plan for the day after. And the void has allowed Hamas to return and regain control of areas where it lost men, where it lost weapons. So yes, everyone basically looking at how this will evolve. Of course, the fact that Hamas shows that it's getting strong, that it's not gone entirely, that it's still there, well, it gives the Israeli government, who wants to continue the war, a way of saying, well, we need to continue because they're still there, and our goal is still to destroy Hamas. So basically, the problem and the challenge is still there and needs to be resolved, and it's still very complicated to resolve to end this war at last.
Thank you.